And we proudly present the finalists for the Johnny Petraglia Open. The 5th seed is a 10-time champion from Hollywood, Florida, Randy Pedersen. His opponent is a 2-time champion, returning to the tour, 6-year absence from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, John Gant. The 3rd-seeded player seeking his first PBA title from Dunedin, Florida, Bob Belmont. In the semifinal game, we'll see a first-time finalist from Temple City, California, Billy Myers, Jr. And our tournament leader is making his first appearance in the finals from Morgantown, North Carolina, Ken McNeely. That's our field for this afternoon's Pro Bowlers Tour telecast from Cara Lear Lanes before a standing room only crowd in North Brunswick, New Jersey. A lot of money at stake today. I'm Chris Schenkel. Bo Burton, the winner's share is big.
You're right, Chris, and exciting field today. Actually, 3 players making almost their initial shot at the championship, and 34,000 on top. We're ready for the first match, 8,000 at stake in this match, and we're ready to go, Chris, with 2 tough players.
Randy Pedersen, 10 titles, PBA national champion in '89. John Gant was the 1984 Rookie of the Year with 2 titles. A lefty and a righty, 4 left-handers in today's field of 5. Pedersen first. Seven-pin.
Pretty good opening shot for Randy, who's really worked on his vertical movement. He's trying to stay down in that second to last step and into the slide. As you see, he's pretty consistent all week long, right around the top. And if he can maintain that type of form, Chris, he keeps the ball in the pocket, and his striking ability is wonderful.
In the 24-man match play finals, 18 of the 24 bowled from the left side, like John Gant, who is getting up now. Big athlete, 6'3", 210, and he quite a pitcher.
Well, he is a 95-mile-an-hour reputed fastball in high school and tried out for the Cincinnati Reds, but he's opted for this bowling, and he's back in the tour again.
Our second 7-pin of the afternoon, this one on the right lane.
The buzzsaw, as I like to call John Gant, the simple approach. He has a tremendous athletic ability and really cocks that wrist and snaps it right on through the strike zone, and he gets tremendous strike ability.
2 spares and we're even. John Gant won Denver 1984, beating Pete Weber and Steve Cook, and then his second victory came in Peoria, 1987, defeating New Jersey's Parker Bone III.
Gant, using the big, powerful hook, he'll start in this area, slide around this area, and be right around the second, third arrow. Watch the wrist action as he snaps through.
3rd 7.
Chris, that's all I saw yesterday. The pocket is very accessible for the left-handers and the right-handers, but the 7-pin is the key. Now watch the 2nd pin on the left-hand part of your screen, the 4-pin. Watch it just leap around the 7. An excellent angle of attack by Gant. The 4 just nicks that 7, but doesn't take it out. If they can carry that, they can shoot some big numbers.
The man for whom the tournament is named, Johnny Petraglia, finished 20th this week. He of 300 fame right here.
And he had a 300 during the tournament yesterday in the championship round. He started out Friday with 16 games to go and looked like he was going to make a charge with an early 300. But John settled for a solid paycheck.
There were 13 300s this week here.
Randy Pedersen, a proven winner on the tour, a very simple contemporary style. He's a great athlete, has a good push away. It's 6 feet 2 inches tall, everything in good position. Watch the pivot step as he drives through. And the key for Randy is see how steady he kept his head through that lifting area, and that's the key for him doing well.
He won last year in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. His 10th title, his first, we remember it well, Bo, the AC Delco Classic in Union City, California. Started from number 5, where he's starting today, when he won then.
Randy, pretty conventional style. He's going to be playing the track area of the lane, and that's right around the 3rd arrow. Randy's going to walk in this area, a nice smooth lift, and watch how he tries to keep his head locked on the target and keep that 6 foot 2 inch frame nice and low. And the amateur stand-up comedian may have stood up a little early there at the line. He looks pretty smooth, Chris. It's a matter of confidence. Even though he has many TBA championships, he has 10 titles and a major, what he needs to do is get the ball to the left of the 2-pin, slide the 2 over into the 7. Very makeable for Randy. Ooh, tough break.
Oh, yes. Costly open frame. Coming in the third for Randy Pedersen.
Randy just nips the 2 and doesn't quite get enough punch on it to knock it out of the channel and pop it into the 10. A big opening for Gant, who leads by 17 through 2 frames.
And jumping on the opportunity of the first strike of the match, John Gant. Strike in the 3rd frame. Now he can go out to a 27-pin lead with a strike on the left lane.
Gant with the full grip just sticks the tips of his fingers in there, has tremendous wrist action. He gets that ball down the whip zone and snaps it through. Great strike power.
So now we'll test this split-making ability, the 1-3-7 of John Gant.
Well, you have to hit the head pin in order to strike. The 1-3-7, get the ball to the edge of the head pin and drive the head pin into the 7. Gant with that big hook may have a little trouble crossing the center of the lane and controlling it.
So, with that open thing, things get much tighter, like only 3 pins. Not too far down the road here in New Jersey from Carol Air Lanes is Princeton University, and throughout the day we'll spotlight its campus and surrounding area. Princeton. The Tigers. Yes, a vast bowling facility, 82 lanes, recently renovated, design work done by the proprietor's wife, very talented Lenny Livingston. Her husband, Lee, of course, gracious host this for the 5th year for this event, which we've enjoyed televising. And it's good to have Randy, who has a great sense of humor and can concentrate when he needs to. And right now is the time, because after an open frame, he's shooting in the 4th, trails by 3. Couldn't trip it, though.
Well, pretty good shot. He settled down a little bit after that commercial, and the ball drifts slightly high. The 2-pin goes around the 4-pin, almost gets the trip on it. Randy's just loosening up here, and he's really trying to keep his form. He's been in a slight slump this year. Feels like he's coming out of it. Stays with that shot, makes a spare, and he's right in the match. A 3-pin differential through 4 frames is nothing.
Winner of this game will meet Bob Belmont, and then Billy Myers Jr. And our tournament leader, non-winner, is Ken McNeely. Took 5 frames for Randy to get that initial strike.
The buzzsaw, who took off 6 years to help raise his children. His wife is a doctor in the Carolinas. Beverly Timmerding.
Second strike for Gant. Next Saturday at 3, 2 Central, ABC Sports heads next door to the Empire State. Your favorite bowlers, including Walter Ray Williams Jr., shoot it out at the Bud Light Championship. Now that's live from Long Island next Saturday here on ABC Sports.
And Monticelli's defending champion, and will be in an arena setting. That's exciting. Now, Gant a chance to take a 13-pin lead, 6 frames.
State of New York University at Stony Brook. Stony Brook University, where the telecasting site will be. So with that double, 13-pin lead by Gant. Randy can cut it back to 3 with a strike here.
Becky Pedersen looks on. She likes that. Randy zeroed in. That squeaky smooth style of Randy starting to kick in. Both players with the ability to throw a lot of strikes. Exciting match. A little nervous energy used up by Randy Pedersen, just drying his hand on the bottom of his shoes. He has a piece of tape on his index finger. It just helps him hold the outside of the ball, set it in position, Very important to key in the exact same set position. Here he goes.
So now we get a 2-sleeper 8 for Randy.
We struggled on this left-hand lane, Chris, a little bit. As you see in the third frame, he slid by leaving the 2-4-10, and then here again in the 7th with a chance to take the lead, he leaves the 2-8. Tough shot. I always hate that back pin in there. Crossing the lanes, somewhat of an unknown factor also.
Took care of that mirror-like look of the 2 and the 8. Randy Pedersen, 5 pins separating the pros. We'll be back. Chris Shackleburton back again at Carolina Lanes in our first match. Bo, no two lanes are alike. The lane conditions here, very interesting.
It's been a little different, Chris. We've had 18 left-handers, you said, in the top 24, and we just showed you the reason why the lefties seem to dominate this week. The left-handers can come in at an angle to the 1-2 pocket at about a 6 degree, which allows them to kick out the 7-pin a little bit easier. The right-handers are forced in the track from a little wear. They come in at a 4-degree angle, and over a period of 42 games, Chris, that's been the difference in the tournament. We have 4 southpaws in the top 5. Right now, Gant leads by 15 over Pedersen.
Superb color demonstration, Nelson.
Fingerprinting kindergarten.
Just couldn't get them all.
Right now, through 5 frames, John Gant 94 in the 5th. If he spares, he'll have 114 in the 6th. Both players on a spare. Gant will have a scant 4-pin lead with 3 to go.
He nails the 6 pin.
This fellow, Chris, I thought had as much potential to be a dominant left-hander on the tour when he came out. He has a great natural ability, a tremendous revolution on the bowling ball, athletic ability, and obviously he decided to quit and stay off the tour for a while, and now he's on a comeback trail.
Children now are 7 and 14 years of age, so he can get out here. His wife, an emergency room physician. Big strike in the 8th frame for John Gant, originally from the Pittsburgh area. Now living in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Now Randy Pedersen, originally from California, now living with his wife Becky in Hollywood, Florida. Here's Nelson.
Thank you, Chris. Bob Belmont, you've always told me, Bob, that you like the lane condition dry, you want them hooking, and what do you see out there today? You going to get your type of lane condition?
Yeah, they're a little bit tighter than they've been, but I don't see any problem. As long as I stay slow with the feet and stay firm with the line, I don't think I have any problems at all.
If they dry out, Chris, this man could be very tough. He's going to have to slow down, change his game. We'll see who his opponent's going to be. Back to you.
All right. Randy looking for that double. He'll take the lead. That he does. Foundation ninth frame strike. Leads by 6 pins. Again, tight matches among the pros like last week. Look at that. Animated, enthusiastic. 10 titles, 14-year member of the PBA. 2 titles, 12-year member. He's doubling too, keeping it close. Tonight on ABC, hey, Clint Eastwood and Clyde Starr in Any Which Way You Can, the ABC family movie. Then Jeff Fahey is back in an all-new episode of The Marshal. That's all tonight, starting at 8, 7 Central Time on ABC.
The buzzsaw up in the 10th frame. First time he's been in this position in over 6 years. Needs 2 strikes and 7 to shut out Randy Pedersen. Now, after getting the first strike, it goes down to 1 strike and 7. The second ball in the 10th, the key shot. I'll tell you what, it behooves him to get this strike. Randy Pedersen, known for his ability to win games in the 10th frame. Here we go.
one part of it, Nelson.
Well, Chris, 18 revolutions in 60 feet of bowling lane, a good angle of attack, about 5 degrees, and he can motivate those pins. Nothing left but pin shrapnel after that one, and he needs 7 now to take Randy Pedersen, the great right hope, out of the matches for today.
A handshake, symbolic of victory, 224 for John Gant. Perspiring, pressure on.
Pedersen's back, though. He's acquitted himself well today. The lane conditions were very tough for righties all week long. Randy's got to be proud of himself and take that good, solid paycheck.
We'll give you the final score when we return. But to remind you that this ABC Sports presentation, the Professional Bowler Tour, will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
ABC Sports coverage of the Professional Bowlers Tour. Brought to you by Brunswick. Quaker State 4x4 Motor Oil, the intelligent oil for hard-working engines. And McDonald's, have you had your break today?
Hundreds here at Carolina Lane saw John Gant, 9 strikes, bowl a 224 to eliminate Randy Pedersen, who shot a 219. So it's close scores again this week on the Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. Weekly, it seems we come up with some fantastic bowling feats, men and women. One happened here at Carolina Lanes by a young East Brunswick High School sophomore named Walter Hastings. Handsome young man, and he's live here. The heartthrob of all the young folks on our telecast, I'm sure. He shot an 866 series, 267, 300, 299. Walter Hastings, remember the name. All right, and just a little older now are the 2 professionals that are ready to go with game number 2. And stepping in is Bob Belmont, originally from White Plains, New York, now bowling out of Dunedin, Florida. But the winner of the last game, John Gant, shoots first, left lane. Puts the pressure on immediately. Now, let's get better acquainted with Bob Belmont. He's been on our show before. He was 5th in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, about a year ago in the Tums Classic. Here's his first shot. One of the 4 lefties in the field. Great shot by 34-year-old Bob Belmont. He led the tournament for 2 or 3 rounds, then faded away, and he says that he usually bowls well when the scores are low because he is a great spare maker. Started with a strike, can double here. Second match of the afternoon. And in the Johnny Petraglia Open, he has a double. $215-pounder on a shorter frame of 5'10", whereas John Gant, he's 6'3", weighs 210. Struck up in the first, now in the second. So we're all even. Nelson Burton Jr.
Today, and I really believe, Randy, I think you bowled awfully well today, and I thought if you could have gotten by that first game with John Gant, you could have run the table.
Well, you know, who's to say? I mean, you know, you get the first game under your belt and you get loose and you know, you get in the rhythm and stuff. But I lost the pair right before we went on. The lanes went through transition, and I kind of forgot how to play him, or was undecisive about how to play him, and played him wrong.
Well, your game looks sharp, and I'm sure you have a great winter tour the rest of the year. Good luck to you, pal.
Yeah, he shot a 219 to John Gant's 224, and John now has strung 3, and Bob Belmont is up. Bob owns a pro shop back in Dunedin, Florida. He has bowled a lot of regional events. Has 3 regional titles. Sort of weak end of the pocket, leaving a 4-7 on the right lane for Bob.
Well, the two experienced players that have the most experience obviously bowled in the first match where you had Gant against Pedersen. And as you see right here, Belmont with a little early pressure on him from Gant pulls up in the third frame. He's still a little nervous, leaves the 4-7. And let's see if he can really hold true on that spare-making ability.
There it is.
Good technique there, Chris. You picked it right out. I mean, the guy kills the ball, and you don't need anything but accuracy when making spares unless it's double wood. So Belmont, real good shot, and making those spares keeps you in the match. Now let's see how he's attacking the championship here. He throws the smallest amount of hook of any of the players. He's right about the center of the lane. He's going to slide almost to the center, and I'm going to say he's going to try to hit the second arrow, come straight up the ball, keep it in control. That's why he likes the dry lanes. He likes the lanes to do a lot of the work for him.
There's his father, John Belmont, native of White Plains, but now lives in Clearwater, Florida. We'll be back after this. Two hard-working, talented people, Helen D. and Jack Kordusky, tournament chairpersons. Huge pro-am, including many celebrities from the New York area, raising money for the Institute for Children with Cancer and Blood Diseases, the WFAN Radio CJ Foundation. Raised $20,000. Beautiful strike, 4 in a row now, Nelson Burton Jr.
Thank you, Chris. Billy Myers Jr., I knew your dad in the early 60s, and he bowled was in contention for a couple of PBA championships. Did he give you any advice coming in today's championship round?
Yeah, he did. He was pretty simple. He said, just throw it, and it doesn't mean anything else. Like, it's just practice. Just throw the ball.
Boy, it's great if you can create that. This guy's got a lot of potential, and good luck, Billy. Back to you, Chris.
All right. Now there's 5 in a row. 5 in a row. It's warm here in the bowling establishment with this size crowd, the lights, but not affecting our professionals. Strike up, shooting in the 5th. A 7.
Belmont, nice and solid. It's a kind of style that'll last a lifetime if you just stay in good bowling shape. Very simple, push away, everything in good position. See the ball right along the line. He's going to be in a target somewhere down around the 6th or 7th board. Good follow through. Did not get the result he wanted, but he likes to put them all in the pocket and take his chances.
One of the 13 300 shooters here in this week's Johnny Petraglia Open. Bob Belmont.
Belmont, a real solid game. Now let's take a look at how he's attacking the whole lane. It's a very interesting shot. He's starting in this zone. He's going to start in this, roll it, slide in this zone, and roll it just out around the first arrow. Try to get it to work into the 1-2 pocket. Let's follow his line. Perfect.
Very smooth, isn't he, Bill?
Yes, he is. And aggressive, Chris. The fellow has a lot of confidence. He says if he wins today, he's going to come out on a full-time basis. He has a pro shop back in Clearwater, Florida, but he picks his spots and has been very successful.
Now to reach the halfway point. The 3-pound. Spoiling the string.
20 miles an hour, 18 revs or more on the way down the lane. The buzzsaw just throws this one through the break. It's just like hitting the putt a little bit too hard, Chris. You got it read properly, but hit him a little too hard. That's what happened with John on that shot.
John with 2 PBA titles.
A little bit of contrasting styles between Belmont and the buzzsaw. We saw Belmont standing more in the center of the lane. You'll see the buzzsaw almost backed up against the rack. And he'll be crossing somewhere around the 3rd arrow, and you're going to see quite a bit bigger hook out to the edge, snapping it into the 1-2.
Right back striking, John Gant won the first game over Randy Pedersen, 224 to 219. will return. Beautiful bowling establishment here in New Jersey. Carolina Lanes, standing room crowd, Phil Villapiano, and on the right of the screen, that's his mother, Dorothy, a school teacher, 84 years young, and a bowler. That is Debbie Mushnick. On the other side of the screen, married to Phil Mushnick, who is a talented TV columnist with the New York Post.
Right now, Bob Belmont, 7th frame, trails by 31 pins. Strike up, can cut the leads of the buzzsaws down to 21 pins. He has a potential 258. He has to get on the stick.
Spinner on the right and the standing 7 again.
Just not quite enough leverage through the lift area. One thing Belmont needs to work on to improve his tour game is to keep his left hip closer to his arm swing to get maximum leverage. He gets a little bit away from his hip, doesn't get quite that extra flip on the back end, and that'll cause the soft 7. He's had 2 of those.
I must tell you that Phil Villapiano, with his mother here today, Phil was a great Oakland Raiders linebacker. Oh, there's Mr. Mushnick. Look at him, beard, mustache, neatly trimmed, distinguished, debonair, loves bowling, and they love him.
Belmont a little conservative with that shot. He just kind of aims the ball. It kind of decelerates the arm swing, and that's instant death on a professional bowler's tour. You have to have enough confidence, even under the pressure, to accelerate that arm swing through the lifting area. That ball will drift high.
Best finish this year was 18th, Hilton Classic in Reno, second week of the winter tour. John Gant coming into this was 17th, Landmark Lanes in Peoria. Well, let's see, that's the 4th 7 in this match.
Hard to take out that corner pin, Chris, except when he hits this high. You might kick it out with a 7. He actually breaks up the 6-7 split. You see the 6 pin stand there. The 3 pin takes it out. The buzzsaw after it. And now, after 8 frames, here's the situation in the match.
Okay, coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, it's gymnastics like you've never seen it before. Top athletes show off their creativity in the Reese's International Gymnastics Cup. Plus, the road to the Triple Crown begins at NASDAQ as they present the Florida Derby and the Santa Anita Handicap for the older horses. That's coming up next here on ABC Sports.
Well, I was just about to say...
What was that?
All that John Gant has to do is stay clean. 2 marks, and he has this match locked up. Here he leaves one drawback to the powerful bowling ball, the 6-8 pocket split. He cuts right through the middle, and if he can spare in the 9th and 10th, he locks up the match. However, if he does not make this split, get the ball over towards the 6 pin, slide it into the 8, he opens the door for Bob Belmont, who's been sleeping in the weeds, ready to grab it.
2:06 through the 9th frame, Nelson. 19 pins now, and in the 8th frame, Bob Belmont has a spare up. Going to be shooting in the 9th.
Gant going at a 226 pace. Let's throw 4 strikes on there for Belmont right here. 227. He must strike in the next 2 shots to have any chance to win the match. He's still in it.
Bob always kidding me about one of my hobbies, listening to fine pipe organs. And in Dunedin, Florida is not only his favorite, but mine. It's an incredible instrument. And that shot looked like an incredible instrument.
Like a finely tuned head pin there, playing the music on this 10. And right now for Belmont, he must strike on this ball. If he strikes here, he'll cut the lead down to 9 pins. However, if he doesn't, he cannot win. You know, Chris, we talked about the arm acceleration in the 8th frame. That time he had it. He babied the ball in the 8th. He went through the shot. in the 10th, and now he's crept up to John Gant, and he can take the lead away from Gant for the first time in the match. Second ball in 10th frame, needs a strike. If he does not strike, Gant can possibly win the match if he doesn't get a good count without even a mark.
Slower shot, but strung 3 there, Nelson.
Well, as the great Billy Whaley used to say, he feathered it a little bit to the left, Chris, and that's a good touch. You have to have a good foul line touch. Belmont looks to the sideboard, and now he's got Gant on the ropes. Gant can finish with 236 if he strikes out. However, Belmont will have a 227 in the bag if he strikes. If he gets 9, we have a great chance for a tie, Chris. We haven't had one all year.
Trailing by 32 at 1 point, Bob Belmont. His dad, John, and the audience, and other White Plains friends and family. 227 for Bob Belmont.
A superb finish for Belmont, and he puts John Gant in a situation where he needs 2 strikes and 2 pins to win the match. Anything less, Belmont has taken it and will go in the semifinal against Billy Myers Jr. Here we go.
Champion that he is, the competitor. Bob can just wait, along with all of us. He shot that 227, finishing with 4 in a row.
They could have set up tree trunks down there on that last one, Chris, and that wrist action of Gant would have knocked him over. But he needs 1 more strike to continue his march through the field.
Bob's children, Evan and Rachel, must be cheering in Winston-Salem.
Well, Gant had it when he needed it. He got a bad break in the 9th frame, needs 2 pins, and that was a tremendous performance. My late father used to say, when you need it, you have to have a Sunday ball, and on Saturday afternoon, Gant just threw 2 of them.
3 of them?
3 of them.
236 to 227, another thrilling matches here on the PBA Tour on ABC. This week's Choice Hotels Tip of the Week explores lane conditions.
ABC Sports presents a winning never gets old bowling tip. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
Some 30 years ago, when lacquer conditions prevailed in the sport of bowling, we had the luxury of rolling the ball in a number of ways. First, you could roll the full roller. That's where the ball rolled between the thumb and finger holes, and we called this rolling on the half. A piece of tape indicates how stable this roll is and how straight it really goes. Then you could roll the spinner. The spinner was very effective on lacquer conditions, especially when the lanes were very dry. It was an unstable roll, and you can see it spinning down the lane like a top. Not very effective at all on today's lane conditions. What I recommend for all bowlers is the semi-roller. The semi-roller rolls just outside the thumb and finger holes, and it rolls very smoothly on the modern bowling surface. Here I keep my hand underneath the ball and get a perfect result. Now everyone, whether you're a full roller or a spinner, I recommend you changing to the semi-roller. Here's how you do it. Hold the ball in the palm of your hand, release it with the thumb up, and let the fingers rotate counterclockwise around the bowling ball. This will get you an effective roll, better scores, and a winning attitude in the sport of bowling. And remember, winning never gets old.
Look for future ABC Sports winning never gets old bowling tips. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Step.
Okay, a 5-pin difference in the first match. 9 in the second. Close games continue. John Gant moves into his 3rd game against tall, lanky Billy Myers Jr. Carolina Lanes, Lanny on the right, Lee on the left. The Livingstons, who are the proprietors here, and what a warm, wonderful pair. Great to know.
They sure run a nice tournament, don't they, Chris? Here's some of the other players that got to enjoy this gigantic field of 231 players. Solid scores, 225 average to make the top 24. Purple, I like his release. Tony Rosamilia, what a nice guy. Great name. The Rock in 9th place, having a great year. Parker Bone didn't have to drive far to work this week. Albee, always there. Mazda. Adam Apo, the St. Louis surfer. Nice guy. Hugh Miller, veterans, hanging in there. Rick Berry, they should be shooting some baskets, I think. Dennis Horan, our Spitfire champion. Petraglia, the tournament host. David Arnold, you got to win to get back in the Brunswick Tournament of Champions. Dave Leverage, like that name. Eric Forkel and Big Bob Spaulding, the Quaker State champion, round out the top 24.
Ken Brad Voss, 54th. Mark McDowell tied for 35th. And right now, head-to-head, their semifinal match. They'll have semifinals next week, too, in the Bud Light Championship. Stony Brook, New York, Arena Finals. That's right, the State University of New York at Stony Brook. We will have the finals, the 4 games, live, so don't forget to join us. 2 weeks from today, Windsor Locks, Connecticut, the ever-popular Tums Classic. Here we go, John Gant on the right, big and strong, will need it because this is his 3rd match of the afternoon, warm inside. And we get a better look now at Temple City, California's Billy Myers Jr. Best thus far this year was 11th in the Quaker State 250.
I think you're going to see a lot more of this young man in years to come on the tour.
The 7 for the favorite for Rookie of the Year honors. And he's bowling a former Rookie of the Year, John Gant.
Well, when you leave a solid 7 like that, or a solid 10 for the right-handers, there's only, basically, I like to stay in the same place until you continue to leave them, but you can either hook the ball a little bit more to get a little different angle of the pocket, or go a little straighter. Both of those may solve the problem.
Oh, he is marked with the spare. Gant, who had 8 strikes in his first victory, 224, to Randy Peterson's 219. 9 strikes in his 236-227 win over Bob Belmont. Opens with another 18th of the afternoon.
The quintessence of a strike ball, Chris. He just throws the best truck down there. I think it's the best balance, or is among the best balances I've seen between angle, power, revolution, and control that we've had on the tour in the last 10 years. And it pays big dividends for me. The full grip spreads that index finger, but don't count out that wrist. That wrist is what does the job.
Took out the sleeper 8, leaving only the 2.
Boy, is that a good break with that big hook of his. If there's any little chink in his armor, it's the inability to fill frames when he gets off, and the 8-pin makes this a lot tougher. Take it out, and it's an easy spare.
The winner of this semifinal game will go against one of the most unusual styles owned by Ken McNeely of Morgantown, North Carolina, the tournament leader.
Oh, and he's exciting, Chris. He's animated. He came here to win, but we don't know who he's going to bowl yet. Here, Billy Myers, 2nd frame. Well, the liquid style of this young player, nice and smooth, takes everything through the high backswing, rolls it right on through, everything in real nice position. Steady head, not much vertical movement, and look at how that arm goes directly to the target. That's one thing I like to see in all bowlers, amateurs and pros, but it's so important under pressure. Go to target with the inside of that elbow.
Oh, this is Billy's first career TV finals. As Lottie and Billy Myers, his parents, look on.
Well, he said he had a little experience, Chris, in team challenge bowling. Well, it's a whole different ball game when you're bowling on a team and have somebody to pick you up. And you don't have a John Gant, the buzzsaw, staring you in the face.
2 PBA titles, Billy looking for his first. Bo, do you remember your first? I do.
My first championship round, circa 1965, Mobile, Alabama. I remember staying there in the 10th frame, Chris. But I didn't strike and opened one more time, I'd have had a 128. So anything these fellows will do will surely outshine what I've done, as John Gant takes one of his 2 re-racks that he's allowed in each of the championship games.
But don't forget, Bo went on to win 17 titles. PBA Hall of Fame, American Bowling Congress Hall of Fame.
Well, I found out that 128 doesn't win many.
All right. That's a double now for John Gant, and it makes things even. We'll return.
I promise to tell no one. No. I want you to dance naked.
And we love you. Albany, one of the early sites for the formation of Capital Cities Broadcasting, which is now Cap Cities ABC. Billy Myers has a double working. He can take a 10-pin lead with a strike here on the right lane. No, not what he wanted at that point. Leaving the 2-7. Shaking his head as he does his usual preparation on the soles of his shoes and on the bowling ball. Let's watch him fit it in. Or hit it from the right. Wow. Nelson, pretty.
Thank you, Chris. Ken McNeely, our tournament leader. And Ken, you promised me, you said you're going to inject this championship round with a new transfusion of enthusiasm, as you put it. What are we looking for in this championship game when you get out there?
Well, all I'm planning on doing is just going out there and throwing a lot of strikes, make my spares, and put on one heck of a show for the people. I think they deserve it.
All right. Exciting new players coming up in the next match, Chris.
Thank you, guys. Striking the 5th frame after the split conversion by Billy Myers Jr. Take a rest as John Gant, who is a double up shooting in the 5th, can take a 12-pin lead with a strike. Butch Soper, again our statistician. Two-4.
Something different that may confront the left-handers here is having 4 port-siders on the left side as you see John Gant drifting higher in the 5th frame. The lanes may be breaking down a little bit more, but I mean by that is the oil changing a little bit more than they're used to because they usually have some righties mixed in here, so they have to make some adjustments.
Great ability to concentrate, John Gant.
Keep those shoes clean, no nervous energy. Over 17,000 people came through the turnstiles this week at the Johnny Petraglia. Knowledgeable crowd, and they've been entertained with some great matches.
John Gant is striking the 6th frame.
The buzzsaw from the extreme right side of the approach snaps it out between the 2nd and 3rd arrows, and watch the trip of the 6, 7, 10. 3-pin in the sideboard. 4-pin jams out the 7. The buzzsaw has paid dividends. The match is even.
There's a 22-year-old, 6'2", 150 pounds, that has 4 cashes and 9 events here in 1995, his rookie season.
Has that long whippy arm swing that we've seen in so many of the great young players. I think Pete Weber was the first to do it, but even back in my day when they're on, the great Wayne Zahn used to really wait for that ball and come through. Tremendous leverage. You just got to watch your timing and be patient with his feet. Chris, excuse me, have you ever seen matches any closer than we've had the last 2 weeks as you see the 3-pin go around the 6? Last week, a differential of just 11 pins in all the 8 games bowled, and so far today we've had 4 matches bowled, and both of them less than a mark. Competition is the closest ever on the tour.
All right, we're in the semifinal game. Billy Myers Jr., John Gant, who has 2 victories already. Will he get another? We'll be back. Historic New Jersey, the governor's mansion. Isn't it elegant? The rookie, Billy Myers Jr., leads by 9.
Let's take a look at the buzzsaw, Chris. Over at the extreme right, he'll be sliding in this area. His target's out in this area. You can see that big old hook out to the edge board. He needs a strike to take the lead.
One-pin lead by John Gant to win the first two games if you just joined us. Initially, Randy Pedersen, 224 to 219, then Bob Belmont, 236 to 227.
Interesting man, John Gant, graduate of Cincinnati, majoring in education, married to a doctor, Beverly Timmerding, and has been Mr. Mom for the past 6 years and is now making a little return to the tour. Great ability. Well, the lanes are changing on the left. With 4 lefties bowling in the hot lights of the championship, they're changing more quickly than the players are presuming, as Billy Myers makes a little adjustment to his thumb hole, tighten that thumb hole up for the good tape. And right now, Gant and Myers are dead even through 8 frames.
And Bo, with the action here today, Dave Arnold now won't have the opportunity to be in the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions.
Well, almost correct, Chris. He has 6 or 7 more weeks to requalify, and Mr. Machine has it in him, so he may do it in the Bud Light next week. He likes that house.
I hope he does.
Now, we'll see how Myers playing almost the same shot that the Gant is playing.
All right. Billy Myers, Jr. Next Saturday at 3-2 Central, the Professional Bowlers Tour lights up the lanes on Long Island. Walter Ray Williams Jr. shoots for a win at the Bud Light Championship Arena Bowling. That's next Saturday, ABC Sports.
And sometimes when a guy's knocked out of the Tournament of Champions, Chris, like Arnold has been today, that's when he kind of gets on his horse and gets a win going. So look for him next week.
Tall, lanky like this youngster. Another 7.
Ooh, Billy wanted that one. Well, as I look at the scoreboard, both players going at a 217 place as you see the 7 pin standing there all by itself. As you see the solid 7 hit of Billy Myers, the 4 just jumps over the top of the 7. With the conversion, we will be all even.
Nice form, Billy Myers Jr. of Temple City, California.
Well, the buzzsaw can take it off the sheet, as we say on Pro Bowlers Tour. Strikes 9th, 2 in the 10th, and he could lock up the match. Anything less, the rookie, Billy Myers, can come up and take the match. Chris, remember those old M80 salutes that we used to buy about 30 years ago
Sure
for
do.
4th of July? Didn't it sound like one went off back there when Gant's ball hit the pins?
He'd rock the building.
2 strikes and 6 pins, and he'll lock up his 3rd consecutive victory today in the championship round. Still one more match to go. This one's still up for grabs. Billy Myers does not know it's the 10th frame. I'll tell you, that's concentration by a young man. He stood up there like it's his turn to bowl. He has to set his ball back down and see what chance he may have. The buzzsaw with a strike and 6 pins here shuts the door. This is the big one right here. Myers cogitates. He has a chance to win if John doesn't strike.
And a Arapaho scout.
Well, it's surely tomahawked the 7, partner. Watch this head pin as Buzzsaw only needs 1 pin on his final ball to lock up the match. That's no problem. Head pin to the sideboard and just accelerates over, knocks out the 7. He has won 3 matches in a row, and he's going against an exciting young man. But don't count out this Billy Myers Jr. I like his action, too.
So do I. What a future for this 22-year-old from California.
Nice guys out there, Chris. They really
are.
Guys. Really.
Bob Belmont, Billy Myers, and you'll like Ken McNeely, too.
Oh, he's exciting.
Look at that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Billy Myers bowled an awfully good game. Only 1 ball out of the pocket in 10 shots. First time in a championship round on national television against the big boys. You better look out for this young guy. 22 years old, he has it all in front of him. Well, great performance, young man.
John Gant now with 3 victories here at Carolier Lanes in the Johnny Petraglia Open.
Now, Gant has to win to re-qualify for the Tournament Champions because of his 6-year hiatus from the Tour.
236 to 217. Into the finals coming up. This ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station. At Carolina Lanes, the man you're looking at, originally from the Pittsburgh area, bowling out of Winston-Salem, 25 total strikes, 3 victories. Here are the scores. 8 in the first game, 9 strikes in the second, 8 again in the semifinal match, which puts him into the final of the Johnny Petraglia Open against non-winner, first time on TV, Ken McNeely, colorful from Morgantown, North Carolina.
You're right, Chris, and it's going to be an exciting match, the final match. And, of course, the Buzzsaw is really on a roll with that big strike ball, but don't count McNeely out. And our tournament host here had one of those great strike balls, and he used to just whip on it right here, the Big John. He had a great tournament. Remember the 300 he bowled last year, 300 here, and I'm sure that he would be up here speaking with us, but a little laryngitis has set him back as you see his wife and proud son there, John Jr., who's a baseball star.
And Pat and John Sr. are ready. John Jr. So the Morganton, North Carolina, looking for that first victory against John Gant.
Once again, Gant has to win, even though we see 2 championships on his profile. Those were championship years back, and when he gave up his touring status, he gave up his right to the Tournament Champions despite those titles. So he must win.
26 strikes for John Gant. Ken McNeely, watch this style.
Tell you what, this style has brought him a 270 average in the championship pair over 5 days, as he's bowled 269, 298, and 245. So let's see what it can do under the gun for the big bucks.
All right. Cradling that ball like he's afraid somebody's going to steal it.
You're right, Chris. He's got it protected, much like Larry Lichstein of years past. But he has the great cupped wrist action. Really can't see how good his wrist. And despite all this style, he's in perfect position on the pivot step. Pulls out of the shot just a pinch early. But if he can stay down with the shot, he is devastating. And he was strong when he needed it in the final few games last night.
So the 27-year-old from the Appalachian Mountains in Morganton, North Carolina, only his 8th national tournament.
I like it, Chris. I really like it. He was entertaining last night. I followed him around as kind of like John Daly's entertaining maybe on the golf tour, despite his style. See if he can put it on the Buzzsaw, who's been there before.
But he just won't go away.
Well, that big strike ball.
That is a great bowler.
Yes, he is. That big strike ball pays dividends as he gets a terrific break with the head pin going to sideboard and tripping out to 3. Years back, no matter how much power you had until the reactive resin balls and the double voided pins, and when I say double void, there's holes actually in the center of bowling pins, you could have not tripped that shot out. So, Gant, the benefactor of modern technology. We'll call that a technology strike. Let's see if he can take advantage of it.
Three in a row, and the way they whip it, chiropractors are often on the scene. 2 here this week.
Large hand. Look at him stretch it out over 5 inches of the surface. The ball cups it in the bottom, sets that index finger out, and then rolls that wrist under and actually supports it on the forearm. If you can do that, you can get tremendous power on the ball.
Oh, yes. 6-footer, 164 pounds.
Well, it's an entertaining match, Chris, and one of your great fans is Fran Schenkel. Back at home on the mend, I wish her best in Florida as you look at the father of Blaine McNeely. And so, Fran, I'm with your husband here, and he says, get well, honey, and I'll be home tonight.
Blue eyes.
Your favorite. Match all even. Both players perfect through 3 frames.
Pesky 7. Plagued all the bowlers this afternoon.
Well, you're right, Chris, and no matter what angle of attack they take to the pocket, is you see a wide shot here. He's playing the big hook like Gant. No matter what angle of attack, even if it's a 6 degrees like this, you still can't drive that 7 out constantly or consistently. And now the key is to make it. Ooh. All right.
Oh, the final match is underway. 1 pin separating these two pros. We'll be back. Akron, Commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association, Mike Connor. In there pitching, just like John Gant. 3 in a row, 4th frame. Oh, yeah.
Nobody's gone from the number 4 position. Very first match and run the table this year. Buzzsaw in a position to do that, has 11-pin lead. However, the number 1 seeds, as you can see, The Rock, Spalding, D'Entremont, and Alexander have made it 4-4 for the number 1 seeds all year long, so the jury's still out on this match, and it will definitely tilt the scales one way or another.
The bucket.
Can't whip it too wide. Ball got out to about the 3rd board, about real deep, as we call it, on the lane, about 50 feet down the lane, and he hangs on to leave the bucket, and he needs to get this ball in this area and carry out the 9-pin. And for the Buzzsaw, he's going to watch he doesn't chop that 5.
Well, I love looking at this crowd, this audience. Who bowls in America? Well, this is a cross-section of the people that bowl. There are doctors here. There are truck drivers, businessmen. They all bowl.
And women, Chris. I like to watch them bowl.
Youngsters as well. Oh, good break.
Well, Ken's kept that ball around the pocket. I tell you, I admire these young men. The ability to come out here, never been in this situation, and be on the attack. You have the 6'8" standing temporarily. We've seen John Gant lead that in a pivotal situation in the previous match. He recovered from that. Once again, McNeely breaks it down. Oh! And you cannot miss spares, Chris. Eric Forkel last week, our tournament leader, missed the 7-pin in the early going. Here's the one flaw we have picked up in his style. He gets up a little too quickly. See, he raises up. That ball comes off his hand and bounces in the lane and doesn't take the bite in the proper direction. And as I was saying once before, last week, Forkel missed the 7-pin the same way, and it was the difference in the match. Let's see if it costs McNeely.
Went right back. As a 4-year-old at Mimosa Lanes in Morganton, North Carolina, he started because his father works there, and his dad still manages a 16-lane house in Morganton, Bo.
Started at age 4, and boy, is he a little ticked off at his performance on that 9-pin. Gant zeroed on the right-hand lane. He can just slam the door on this young man if he can really conquer this left-hand lane. He's been a little high and light, so if he's going to make a mistake, it would be somewhere in the 7th or 9th frame. 7th coming up. He leads by 19.
34,000 to the winner, 18,000 to the runner-up.
Well, this young man has a few reminders on his shoes to keep him posted on what is happening up here. He says, follow through on the right shoe and stay low on the left. And he's only made one mistake, and he didn't stay low in one frame, and that was an open. So let's see if he follows his own advice. Here we go. You know, that's not a bad idea, Chris. You got to look down at the approach to see where you're standing and have a little reminder there, and maybe something to keep you going. The guy's got it all together. Right now, with one more strike, he puts himself in a position as he gets a very positive reaction here to cut the lead of Gantz down to just 9 pins. Well, that was a key shot. It's not over, but that was a key shot. He needed to squeeze the buzzsaw a little bit. This ball is a little seriously sensitive to the dry area out there around the fourth board on the left side. Snaps high, doesn't get a break on the 6-pin. He has not had any good breaks. He's acquitted himself well here with nothing really good happening.
Now John Gant, a double, shooting in the 8th frame. Can increase his lead to 30.
Here you go, the shot of the buzzsaw, sends it out. This is the one he really wants to kind of lock the match up. Doesn't get the kick on the 7. Has to be very careful he doesn't blow it and leave McNeely a big opening.
I wonder if they have a TV set in Baptist Hospital in Winston-Salem if his wife, the doc, is in the emergency room.
Beverly Timberling is, obviously, I'm sure she's armed with a television set, regardless of whether there's patients there or not. Her hubby's here trying to nail down $34,000 plus bonuses and a ride to the Brunswick Tournament of Champions.
Oh, and I'm proud to say TV sets help patients recover.
That's for sure.
Yes, sirree.
Now here's the lane we thought that would give John some trouble, and he really gets a good break here in the key 9th frame. He cuts right through the heart, almost has a 4-6 split, which will really open the door for Ken McNeely, and he breaks it up and has a simple spare. But the door is still slightly open for McNeely. Gant going at a 234 pace. McNeely has a chance for 236, but he must throw strikes.
Remember the names: Ken McNeely, Billy Myers Jr., Bob Belmont, all performing here today on our telecast.
Good stuff. I've been really excited. I like the young players, the new faces out here, Chris. We know the established stars can do it. They've won a lot of titles, and I'm sure that they'll win more. However, these guys can flat do it, and it's a new generation out here, and this guy's exciting, and right now, he's in the biggest frame of his young life. He can take the lead in this match with 2 more strikes and 9 or better. This is the championship. Well, Chris, that can happen in practice, that can happen in league for a perfect game, but he doesn't deserve to get ripped like this for the title. He couldn't have walked down there and set it in the pocket any more perfectly, and he pays a penalty on a great shot, the solid 9. Be proud of that shot, young man. It may have cost you money, but that'll come back to you. You get there enough times, my daddy said, and sooner or later, that well will yield water. And you throw them like that, you're going to win a lot of money.
Morganton, T-O-N, North Carolina. Good way. Good boy. 216. Ken McNeely.
How about Myers? How about McNeely? All those balls in the pocket. The buzzsaw only needs 7 pins on the first ball. You can put this one in a can. John Gant is going to the Brunswick Tournament of Champions April 22nd in the Chicago area. A great champion, but boy, he earned it. Ran the table today. First time all year long.
Games of 236, 224, 236.
Hey, how about that, McNeely? Reaching out, shaking the Gant's hand. I like these guys out here. This is entertaining. Great bowling, great entertainment.
And the 1984 PBA Rookie of the Year, John Gant, bowling now out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. 14th television appearance. All right, he's won his third PBA title. And again, Bo, big score, 234 to 216. Great job by Ken McNeely, the